humans. This is an adoption campaign, but it's not for me or Mr. Buttons or Frank over there. It's for you, humans. This is a call to humans to adopt our movement, to adopt our cause.
This isn't just about saving one of us.
It's about saving all of us.
Thousands of lives, every single day.
It's about support for every one of us four, and sometimes not four-legged best friends, waiting to meet a best friend of our own. With Best Friends Animal Society leading the charge.
Shelter by shelter. City by city.
We can save thousands of pets each day.
Join us.
Together we can save them all.
Thank you for joining us for Pet Connect. I'm Tara Douglas. Make sure you mark your calendars for November 15th. We'll be having a special dog walking day at Silloward Trail. We did it back in July and the dogs loved it, the volunteers loved it. It was a little warm though, so we decided to do it again for fall, so we're coming up on that date. So we're partnering with the Sylacauga Animal Shelter and the Sylacauga Parks and Rec. And so we'll be out there, we're calling it the Turkey Trot, and we will also have some turkey chili for all of the volunteers, so we should have a really fun day. It's at our normal walking time, so it's going to be 11 to 1, and we've got 2 more weekends before that weekend, so make sure you come to the shelter and walk the dogs from 11 to 1 the next 2 weekends, but please mark your calendar for November 15th. We should have a great time. And you can also come any of these days. Hopefully my pet of the week will be adopted before the Silloward Trail Day. But this is Kiwi. Kiwi is a little over a year old, and she is up to date on all of her shots. She's fixed. A very sweet dog. She gets along with other dogs. She's wearing her Horses and Hounds Halloween parade outfit right there, but she gets along with dogs. She loves people. She does great with kids. And we really got to see her personality come out at the parade. She did great walking, and so we would love to find her a home. So please come out and meet Kiwi, or if you're looking for a dog, or if you have a family member or a friend that's looking for a dog, then come out and see her or any of the other dogs that we have at the shelter. We would love to find homes for all of them. And we will see everybody this weekend. Remember, it's 11 to 1 to walk the dogs. Now, I would like to get to my special guest today because we have a lot to talk about. I have Emma Marshall here. She's the owner of World Class Kennels in Wilsonville. So, Emma, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So, tell me a little bit about the kennels to begin with. We got a lot to talk about, but I do want to talk about your kennel and how did it come about? How did you end up a kennel owner?
I was actually on the road showing dogs professionally and was looking at a backup business, and looking after dogs while you're showing is really not that different from looking after dogs in a kennel. So decided to find a boarding kennel and bought the one out in Harpersville. So been there for 8 years now. It was established a bit over 20 years ago, and we're cruising along quite well.
Now tell me about the operation there. You can board how many kennels do you have? I realize some dogs can be boarded together, and I didn't realize you did cats too until you sent me all of your information. So you're really set up to help people when they're traveling or need to board their animals.
Right. We have 65 runs, so we've had up to 100 dogs in there, which is a busy few days to keep that many. But we can certainly keep quite a few there. We have 4 kitty condos.
Okay.
We try and keep them separate. We don't like to run put the cats in together. If they're coming from the same home and they really need to stay together, then we will. But they tend to be one to the condo. But with the 3 stories in the condos themselves, they've got plenty of room in there.
And you've got, looking at your setup there, you've got spots where the dogs have access to outside as well. So they've got a really nice, when you say the runs, you really have an indoor spot and they can get out and run around.
Right. So we have 2 different options. We have the indoor-outdoor runs that are 100 square feet, and they can go outside or they can stay inside in an air-conditioned facility.
Okay.
Or we've got the indoor-only runs, which are about 50 square feet,
okay.
And they're fully secured. So bulldogs, any of the brachycephalic breeds, we tend to try and keep them in the indoor-only runs. particularly through summer when it gets so hot. It's just a lot safer for them. And then we've got the grass yards that they go out and get exercised in 2 to 3 times a day as well. So they get plenty of exercise while they're there.
I bet you have a busy day.
They
at the
are. They
kennels
are.
every day.
It gets our cardio in.
Now, we've got the holidays coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So how full are you? If people need you, are
Mm-hmm.
you already booked up for people traveling during the holidays?
Not quite, but we're getting there. And with any kennel, when you're coming up to the peak travel seasons, always just book in early.
Okay.
It's much easier to make a reservation and cancel it than it is to try and find a reservation last minute.
Okay,
So,
I would imagine so.
Yeah. So it's much safer just to, when you know, as soon as you know that you're going to travel, to go ahead and make your reservation, and then it's one less thing off your to-do list.
Is there anything in particular that people dropping off their animals that you would like for them to know or wish that they knew or had prepared before coming to the kennel?
Everyone that we talk to, we kind of give them a heads up with what they need to do and what they need to bring. But it's super important to bring their dog food. It's hard on dog stomachs to change meals overnight in one meal, and it's not particularly healthy for them either. We can get all sorts of upset stomachs, and in larger breeds you can look at things like bloat, which can be really, really dangerous, changing from one food to another.
Okay.
We do offer a dog food there, and it's a safe dog food to feed, but it's always easier on the dogs just to bring their food. And typically a little bit of bedding too. It's nice for them to be able to smell something from home, and then it sort of settles them in a little faster too, that way, with having home smells, and they can curl up with that too. So
Now, you are located, what's your address, where are you, and how do people contact you if they want to get a reservation aboard a dog or cat?
we are at Klein Road in Harpersville, and we have 2 ways of getting in contact with us. You can either give us a call at 205-672-2599, or we're worldclasskennels.com. Through our website, you can actually make a reservation there as well. So either way is the whichever is easiest.
Okay, well that sounds great. Hopefully people will go ahead and make their plans for the holidays,
Right.
because we're coming up quickly on
Crazy how
Thanksgiving.
fast it is. Yeah.
So I bet you never get to travel during the holidays because you have to be there at the kennel.
Right, but it's nice because then we get to travel when everyone else is at home. So.
there is a perk with that. Now, you personally have Rhodesian Ridgebacks, and when you said that you were a professional, you're a handler and you showed dogs, that was all Rhodesian Ridgebacks, correct?
No, that was all breeds.
Okay.
I was a all breeds professional handler.
Okay.
Yeah, AKC registered professional handler. So I was on the road campaigning dogs and showing dogs. Burned out a little bit, doing about 68,000 miles a year on the road. So I was sort of
That's
looking
a
at,
lot.
looking at something to be a bit more grounded and be able to see my own dogs for a while too. So
Now, so your own dogs then are Rhodesian
Are Ridgebacks, yes,
Now,
yes.
tell us about Ridgebacks. What made you want to have just Ridgebacks?
Well, I grew up with them. My mother started our kennel in 1974, so our kennel is a little over 50 years old now. So we've got a lot of generational breeding that's going on in that. And then my grandmother bred Pharaoh hounds, so it's sort of it was just.
Yeah.
It was going to happen regardless of what I wanted. But Ridgebacks, while I have had a lot to do with a lot of other breeds, they are such an easy breed to live with. They're very amenable. They will work in with whatever lifestyle you want. They're short-coated, so they're not a lot of grooming. They'll curl up on the couch with you if it's a cold, miserable day, or they'll go running out with you if you want to go out and be active. So they're just an easy breed to live with. They'll look after the family. If there's someone that turns up at the door, they'll go and be a guard dog, and then once they understand that the person is allowed to be there, then they'll be welcoming and let them in, and they'll be part of the family again. So
What were they originally bred for?
they were multi-purpose. So they were a guard dog, they were a companion, and they were actually used for herding too, but they were also a hunter. Their most famous purpose was being used to hunt lions. So they would, the hunter would take the pack of Ridgebacks out. The Ridgebacks would track the lion both through sight and scent. So they're not a typical hound where they're one or the other. And then they would find the lion. They would hold them at bay. So they wouldn't actually attack the lion. They'd hold the lion at bay, and then the hunter would come along and kill the lion.
Okay. So yeah, that's interesting that we have a dog that's bred to hunt lions, and they're curled up on the couch with you also.
Right, right. Well, that's because there's no lions left in America.
Yeah, but every Ridgeback I've ever been around is just a delightful dog. And you know, we talk about so much on Pet Connect to adopt the shelter dogs, but we also understand that there are reasons people want a certain breed, and there are reasons people need a certain breed, with temperament or jobs or things like that. So a lot of what I would like to discuss with you today is about ethical breeding, because you've been in the breeding world a long time. Your family has been in the breeding world. And we see so many times, so many things in the rescue world where people should not have allowed animals to breed. And so let's talk about that. You've got so much great information about it.
Sure. So, I mean, essentially the difference is an ethical breeder is going to be breeding for health. So we do a lot of health testing. We make sure that hips and elbows are x-rayed, and we're breed specific with what things we need to look at in our genetics. So epilepsy or diabetes or whatever it might be in that particular breed, when you're looking at an ethical breeder, they're going to be testing for that, and they're going to try and breed that out of the lines. They're not going to breed two dogs that are affected by a disease to make it worse. They're going to do the opposite. We also breed for sound temperaments. So if you've got a nervous dog, one, you may not breed a nervous dog. If it is a really, really nice structural dog, you may not breed it because temperament is hereditary. If you do choose to breed it, then we're going to breed it to a really confident dog that isn't going to make that problem worse. The next thing that we do is every particularly purebred has a breed standard that we try and breed towards. And that breed standard is going to describe structure, how the bones sit, how the angles of the bones sit, what the head looks like, and it's all for a purpose, and it's usually based on what the breed was originally meant to do. So for a Ridgeback, for instance, because they were out hunting all day, they'd have to be able to move efficiently so they didn't hurt themselves if they were out exercising all day. Like an athlete, if they're not fit, then they're going to hurt themselves. So we want to try and create a dog that is going to be able to be out trotting all day without hurting themselves. So we breed to the standard then to try and create that balance that creates the dog that's going to be able to do what they were originally bred to do. Yeah. So there's a lot of research, we have to look at a huge range of dogs, which is where the shows come in, because we get to see all of the breeding stock around the place, kind of like farmers do with cattle. If they've got a meat cow, they're going to try and produce the best type of meat that they can produce by breeding the particular cattle together. We do the same thing with dogs.
There's a lot of science behind the breeding, and a lot of, if you get a dog from an ethical breeder, then the dog is going to be healthy and is going to have a lot of the characteristics that you need.
Right.
So how can someone that's looking for a purebred dog of any kind, what do they need to look for in a breeder? I mean, it's not just you drive by and see a sign on the road, or that somebody puts a post on Facebook, hey, I've got these dogs. Right. What kind of questions do they need to ask to make sure they have found an ethical breeder?
Right. So your number one thing is you need to go and talk to the breeder. We actually suggest that you go and see 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different kennels when you know what breed you want. Just because every breed has a little bit of a different look too. There's going to be different temperaments in there. There's going to be lots of different variations within the breed. So go and talk to multiple breeders. Don't just stay with the first one that you see. You've also got to remember that this is going to be a relationship that you're going to build with your breeder for the life of the dog. An ethical breeder isn't just going to pack the puppy up and send you out the door. They're going to be there for the 2 o'clock phone calls where you wake up in a panic because your dog's doing something weird. You may not know if it's normal or not. If you're not comfortable calling that breeder at 2 o'clock in the morning, then that's not the breeder for you. You want someone that you can call whenever you want to say, hey, listen, my dog's doing this, is that okay? An ethical breeder is going to be happy to take the weird questions just to be on the safe side. They're not going to brush you off. So the big thing is being comfortable with the person that you're going to. Have a look at the facilities where the puppies are. See how clean it is. Make sure that you can talk to all of the other dogs in the kennel. You want to meet the parents if you can. Sometimes it's not possible with the male because it could be across the other side of the country, so that may not be feasible, but you certainly should be able to meet the mother of the puppies and see what the temperament's like on her too. Have a look at the condition of the puppies. If they're skinny, if they're fat, if they've got diarrhea, then you need to kind of judge that a little bit too and use a bit of common sense. A breeder that doesn't let you come in and have a look at the litter and just brings a puppy out to you is a huge red flag.
Okay.
Huge red flag. They should also be giving you all the health tests that they've done. I provide a puppy pack that goes out to all of my puppy buyers, and that has a copy of all of the health testing that I've done. If they want generational health testing, then I can provide paperwork on that too. So that's all really important to see in there as well. You typically want someone who's going to be registered with the AKC or even CKC and be part of the parent club. We have, every main breed has a parent club, and they're usually responsible for organizing all of the possible health tests and the research and development of the breed. So it's a great information source to be able to come back. And when you're part of the club, it also kind of keeps you honest too, because if you start doing things you shouldn't be doing, then the club's going to step in and say, well, you're either not part of the club, or we need to fix these problems as well. So that's also a really big part of sort of keeping honest and making sure you're doing the right thing.
So it's a lot of research on the person who's going to adopt the dog's part. And so, yeah, we really appreciate all this information, because we hear so much from people that end up with dogs that have issues, that they didn't get it from an ethical breeder. So we'll definitely have you on here again and talk some more, because I know there are a lot of people that need to hear this. Right. And we appreciate everything that you do, and we appreciate you sharing some information about breeding on here. And
my pleasure.
You know, make sure that if you are looking for a kennel, then call Emma, she is in Harpersville. I said Wilsonville before. You're on the road to Wilsonville.
We're close.
She's
We're close.
She's not
It's
too
right
far
on the
from
edge.
Wilsonville. But thanks again for coming on the show, World Class Kennels, and make sure to join us this weekend to walk dogs at the shelter 11 to 1, and mark your calendars from November 15th so that we can get these dogs out to Silloward and enjoy an outing for them, to get them out in the woods. And come meet Kiwi. She's available for adoption at the Sylacauga Animal Shelter. We'll have more Daybreak after these messages.